Hi, welcome to my video. Something came up today that I wanted to bring up and maybe shed some light on it for others, for the situations that happened in my life that maybe could help in others' lives. Now, something came up with my son and with these people that he's talking to, and they're not really friends, they're kind of like acquaintances. And they're people that are at his school. And the girl was being kind of nasty to him. And she was saying disrespectful things. Now, I don't know the whole situation, but it just spurred this in me to talk about this. When you're expecting this situation to get better, like he is, without doing anything, and not changing how he acts and what he expects out of the situation, it's not going to change until he decides to do that and take the action. Now, this is something, excuse me, this is something that I've had to do myself, and I'm still, working through it myself. And if I want something to change, I have to do something else that I haven't been doing, especially if I want a goal to be achieved. Now, in this situation, the person's calling my son names, and I used to react to stuff like this, and I used to get nasty and want to say things back to the person, which I do, but at the same time now it's like I've made some shifts in my life where I've shifted to, why do I need to respond back to this person? And the person thinks that talking this way is okay, and that something that my son missed, it was something stupid that they had happening in lunch. They were doing trivia, and my son didn't realize that they were doing it, because he didn't realize what was going on with it, who was actually doing it. It was a person holding a computer. And I know this from the messages that I get on my phone, because I get the messages that my son gets, because it's my phone as well. It's not an actual phone where he has full access. It's only through Wi-Fi, and I have my ID on there. So anything that comes through, it's on my phone as well. I get all the responses, and I get everything they both say. I kind of keep, not control over it, but I kind of keep awareness of what's going on in his life. So anyways, so this girl was saying that he missed the fact that they were doing trivia, and she was calling him stupid, and she said, "You're a dumbass." And she said, "Oh yeah, and you're also the R word, which would be retarded." Now, I used to say that word. I was, when I was younger, I used to say that because when you're younger and you're around friends, you say the same things that your friends do, and family members maybe even do, because they don't understand what it's like to be a retarded person. And I didn't understand that. Now I kind of know and understand that most of the time those people come to this earth to understand and see that part of life, and just to experience that as a way of growth, to understand what some other people that are similar to them, they don't have to be retarded, they just be, or have special needs of any kind. They would just understand that how somebody would be if they were persecuted, or if they felt a certain way and they received negative treatment, and they're gonna receive so much growth from it. So anyways, so where I was going with this, right? So the girl thinks that my son's got something wrong with him, and because he missed something, or he's a dumbass. But I'm like thinking, maybe the issue isn't him. Maybe it's just the way you're acting. Maybe it's the way you're treating him, because maybe that's the way people have treated her. But the shift came for me, not this time. It didn't happen in this situation, but I realized the shift that I've made in my life, where I've said, I don't need to respond nasty to people anymore. I used to be that kind of person where, if somebody did something wrong to me, I'd be like, oh, and then I'd find that way to get back at them, and I'd be like, and I'd give it to them, right? But I don't need to do that, because why do I need to hurt somebody back? It's the same saying, and it's probably becoming, I don't know, maybe a cliche now, but it's true. The hurt people hurt others. And it's true, and I've seen it, and I used to do it. I was that person before I did all the work that I've done and the shifts that I've made in my life and where I've gone through and what I've come to and where I am now. I realize it, but I don't have to be nasty back to this girl. And I think that if I were, what good would it do? It's other than just make me feel better for getting this person back. Because if she doesn't see it that way, that the way I do, like, oh, there's something actually wrong with you, with the way you're acting, because you're mistreating someone for no reason. You're mistreating my son because of whatever it is that's happened in her life already. Now, these are 11, 12-year-old kids, and they've already experienced this. So I see these things in the world and I say, well, they're young and they've already experienced this and they're already acting this way. They're already acting the way that an adult would, where they mistreat people and hurt people. And then if my son were to get nasty and be nasty back to her, she'd be nasty back. There's just no doubt about it. But there's no need for that. Why do I need to get somebody back because they got me? And I tell my son this all the time. You don't need to get someone back. And he's fighting with his sister sometimes, and you know, they hit each other, they play with each other, they get a little rough and they do things, and then, you know, one hits the other and the other one's got to hit him back. And I said, listen, guys, you don't have to hit each other back. You don't have to get someone back. But I think in the situation, I understand, because I felt that way, and I felt, you know, like where I have to get that person back. They hurt me. They deserve it back. And that's the way the world does work. The world is a mirror. And that's the way the old world should be. That's not the way the new world's going to be. And I said, that's not the way I want to be. And that's not the way I am anymore. And I learned through having a mentor that kind of said, and I don't want to say it exactly the way he did, because I don't want to put his stuff on here. But I mean, it was somebody that I went through a course with and learned, and I don't have anything to defend. And when you think that way, what do I have to do? Why do I have to defend myself? When I have to defend myself, I'm defending my thoughts of how you view me, right? Why do I have to defend that? I don't. And now I say that, well, why do I have to defend myself? If somebody has done things to me, and there have been a lot of things that I've gone through, you know, even in situations because of how I felt on the inside, and I saw that it was the mirror, and I know now the mirror showing in the world, showing me, here, this is what you're feeling, change it, do something with it, do whatever it is that you have to do, but change it. And I'm looking at my messages. Somebody's messaging my son now. I think it's funny. The conversation that he's having with his friend that's in this group chat with this girl also. Anyways, you don't have to be nasty to each other. And you don't have to get anyone back, because when you make that shift and you say, well, okay, that person has their own perspective and they're entitled to how they want to think and view me. I might defend myself if they continue doing it and they do it blatantly in front of me. I might say, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? And make notice that I'm doing it. But I'm not going to go out of my way and say, oh yeah, you know, that person said this about me, and I don't agree with that, and I don't know why they think that of me. What's wrong with me? Like, I don't think dumb things like that. And I say dumb things because it's just a dumb thing that you'd have, a dumb thought you'd have. It doesn't mean that you're having dumb thoughts if you're having that. It just means it's something that's not necessarily something I should entertain. It's not something I should worry about. It's not worth my time. So I don't give that time and energy to those things because I don't think that's something that I need to do. I know how I feel, and there's people that are actually going to be there for me and that are with me and on my side. Those are the people I want. Those other people that didn't do what I wanted, that aren't on my side and are talking crap behind my back, why do I want to talk to them? Why do I want to be involved in anything with them? I don't. Okay, you can talk your crap and you're just showing the world how you really are. And you're showing the world that you do this to them as well, but they just don't see it. You're behind the scenes right now in somebody else's life. And when they're talking about you behind your scenes, when you're not there, that's the way they're talking about you. And I want people to become aware of that because that's the way people are. They show you how they are. And I've done it. I've done it before, before I did some of the work, and sometimes now, because it's still something that's new that I've made a shift to, and that's the old thing. And sometimes you get comfortable with the old and you kind of just do the things that were the old. That was something that I used to do, and it was easy for me. So you just, in that situation, just take control of it and say, okay, I caught myself, and stop doing it. And say, I don't need to do that. And then the next time it comes up, you might catch yourself before you even just say anything. You might even catch yourself before you do anything. It's okay. Life is a learning environment. Life is a learning process. Everything is a learning thing. And I think that's what the world has gotten away from. Because that's the way, whatever entities, whatever bad energy is that wants to keep us entrapped in that, whatever that is doing that and wants us to be that way. But guess what? You don't have to be that way. You do have to get used to not doing it. You do have to get used to doing it the other way, a better way, a different way, changing it, making a shift and saying, I don't need to defend myself. I'm not gonna. And if it comes up in person, then you say, I don't know why you're acting that way. I don't need to hurt you. And you say stuff like that, like, I don't need to hurt you back. Okay, yeah, you said something. Okay, that's fine. And yeah, you don't let them continue talking about it, but if they do, you just walk away. Because they're not worth your time, they're not worth your energy, they're not worth you getting frustrated, angry, upset with anything that they're talking about. Who cares? That's what I think and feel. And that's a shift that, you can make. That shift can come through, and that shift is possible. You have to do the work, though. You have to set yourself up for it and change your thoughts, feelings, actions. I don't feel like I need to defend myself anymore. And that's what I'd say in that situation. And then I feel like I don't need to do anything anymore. And I don't need to stay there and talk and take somebody's abuse. No. And when I walk away, you know what they're going to do? They're going to stop. Or if they don't, okay, continue making yourself look like a dummy. That's fine. And that's totally okay. And if you get somebody that's really bad, maybe the mirror will shift, because the universe does give things back, and maybe not in the form exactly the way you'd think you would, or it would. Maybe not that way, but it does. It really does. Now, is that going to happen and manifest into a situation where they get the same thing back from you? No. And why does it need to? Because I don't need to get them back, right? And you shouldn't feel that way, that, I need to get them back, because it's just a waste of your energy and resources, and you have better time, a better use of your time, a better use of your energy, coming up with positive things to say, saying positive things. You know what? I'm sorry that you feel that way. And I'm sorry that whatever happened in your life made you react that way. You don't need to act that way. I'm kind of going off a little bit and talking a little more than usual with this situation. But I was just thinking, like, I'm going to talk to my son later, and I haven't seen him yet. I will see him in a little bit after they do this video. I was going to tell him, like, and I've said this to him before, like, you don't need to entertain people like that. You don't need to accept that. Why do you want that person? Why do you like he was asking for a picture from this person, and she was being, oh, well, no. And I just felt like saying no. I'm like thinking, well, I'm going to tell my son, like, she's trying to play you. She's trying to get she has your attention, and she thinks she's going to keep it. Don't show her that. Don't give it to her anymore. Just ignore it. And guess what? It'll shift from that, and it'll go around, and it'll completely change so that when he makes that shift, it'll be on him that he's getting the attention. But he's not going to want that, because I'm going to tell him, you don't want to look for somebody like that. That's a red flag for somebody that's going to mistreat you. And his past girlfriend that he had some other issues, and I'm not going to discuss that, but I told him, you know, she's needy, and she wanted this and she wanted that, and she wanted him to text whenever, and she wanted responses immediately. And it's like, he didn't have internet all the time because he doesn't have a full phone. He doesn't have full access. He's not able to do that. And I don't want him texting you after 10 o'clock. So that's what I told him. Tell her after 10 o'clock, that's it. No more. Because I'm getting the messages too. And I was getting messages at 12, almost 1 o'clock in the morning when I'm trying to go to sleep. Luckily, I wasn't already, because then I'd be like, all right, what's going on? And I might say something, but that's affecting me now. And that's why it's that way. And I don't want my son messaging anybody in the middle of the night anyways. And she wanted him to respond right away, and sometimes I'd look at the message because it's on my phone, and I don't want to have an open text message that says, you know, that little one that's there. I didn't want that. So I looked at it, or I thought it was something else, and I clicked on it. So what? You should get mad about stuff like that. And I told him, why do you want somebody like that? Why do you want to be associated with somebody like that? And one of her friends was messaging him like that too. And it's like, why are you worried about what that person wants? That person's just trying to get what they want. You don't need to entertain that. So moving on, there's nothing to defend, right? And when you shift and make that shift, it feels so much better, because I don't get angry, I'm not upset, I'm not fighting with anyone, I'm not in a negative state of mind, I'm not thinking negative things about them, I'm not saying negative things back to them, I'm not getting them back, I'm not getting upset with them. And that's the shift that, if you make it, you have time for other stuff. You have time to sit and think with yourself, to breathe, to think through and how you feel and what's going on inside here and inside here. And that's what people don't do. And that's why there's a lot of people that are so overstressed, because the stress is getting to them, because they're not getting it out of their bodies. They haven't let go of it. It's staying there because it's not processed. And when you don't process things, you don't have a normal life. You don't have normal situations come up. You don't have normal reactions. You have angry reactions. You have resentful reactions. You have upset reactions, because you don't know what's wrong. Something's wrong, and you think, okay, well, that person's slightly annoying me, instead of not getting upset with them and saying something at all, just saying nothing at all. You're gonna, like, if you're upset and angry and you're already stressed and you're overdone, you're over your limit, you're gonna say something nasty, and it's gonna come out, because It's trying to get out. Your body's trying to let it out. Your mind's trying to get rid of it too. You're just not letting it. Okay? Now, make that shift and be more compassionate. And I have an example. I just recently, at my job, I asked another co-manager to do something a certain way to set up our televisions so that, I said that weird, TVs sound so much more modern. So to set up our TVs a certain way. And I thought maybe I explained it and maybe there was too much involved and there was a period of time that went by that caused that person to forget most of what I said, but I repeated it and we had a meeting, we were talking about it, and I said, to make my Sunday go easier, can you set this TV up ahead of time? Now, I did not say to auto-tune it, and that's what the person did, okay? An auto-tune means you go ahead of time and you look at the time and you say, at 12 o'clock, this TV is going to go on this channel. And that's auto-tuning. Well, I never said that, and I specifically said in the meeting that I didn't want it done that way, because just put it on the channel, because nobody's watching TV until 11 o'clock, and when you have it on the channel, they're used to it. They're used to seeing what they see on the screen, even if it's not an actual program, right? They went and programmed it the way I said don't. They auto-tuned it, right? Now, this happened before with another co-manager as well. And I didn't get upset. I did at first. I was angry because, slightly angry. I shouldn't say angry. Because when you say angry, you say, I'm angry, and your body thinks, I'm angry and I need to stay angry. And that means that I'm really past my limit and I'm way up here when my limit's here. That's what angry means. So I did get upset because it was kind of frustrating me, and my Sundays don't always go the most smooth, and I put in a lot of work and effort in my life to make my Sundays go better, right? So they go a certain way. And when they don't go that way, I get frustrated. I do things to prevent my frustration. That was one of the things, setting those TVs the same way that I said, put it on the channel, that eliminates one of my frustrations. So it makes my day go better and smoother, and I don't have to get frustrated, because a lot of that I've tried to eliminate in my life. Frustration, anger, resentment. Okay? So instead of getting mad at the person, I let my emotions process. Because if you don't process your emotions and you don't go through them and let them get out, and you hold them and you say, if I were to say, oh, I'm angry, and then get angry and get upset and say, oh, that person this, and I didn't like that person did that. Oh, why did she do it that way? Or why did he do it that way? I'm not allowing myself to feel it completely and to let it go through my system, and it's staying in my system. So when it stays in the system, it continues to make you angry, and then I'll get angry about something else, because it's like that time where you have, this is my limit, and that's where my limit goes when I have more things that make me angry. This thing happened, made me angry and upset, I'm frustrated. Another thing happened, somebody asked me something that I thought they shouldn't have had to ask me. This thing happened. Oh, that thing happened. Oh, I got a phone call and somebody called in for their shift. That caused this to go up again. Everything adds up. So when you don't have as many things frustrating you, it slowly starts to decline. And when you have less things to do that anger you, that frustrate you, you become less angry and less frustrated. So I let my anger go through, and I even said to other coworkers, yep, I was extremely angry. I was extremely mad right there, and they didn't even notice, because I was processing it in a certain way, and I let it go, and I moved I moved, I walked, I went from here to there. I said, I need to move. Instead of sitting here and sitting in it, I need to move. And I let myself move. I let some of it come out, and then it passed. So then I said something to this person that set it up the way I didn't want them to. I said, well, you did it this way, and I said not to do it that way. And she said, oh, well, I spend a lot of time doing that, and that's another reason why I said to do it the way I did, because you don't waste as much time. You don't have to spend that time. And she even programmed stuff for later in the day that were past 12 o'clock for 4 o'clock. Well, when you program things at 4 o'clock, the things that are happening from 1 o'clock are still not done and over with yet, because they don't end on time. They don't end. It's unpredictable when the games were going to end. So I told her that too. Instead of getting angry with her and saying, you fucked this up. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that. But anyways, instead of getting angry like that, and that could be an outburst. And that person might go, well, I don't really appreciate the way he just talked to me. And she's thinking, well, I spent all that time doing it and he doesn't appreciate it. So I told her why I didn't appreciate it, because she didn't do it the way I wanted her to. And I said that the first time before, when I said originally how to do it. I got it out. Instead of being angry, instead of just getting angry with her and getting mad and getting frustrated with that, oh, that happened. Oh, it's pointless to say anything. Instead of saying it's pointless to say anything, I said something. I said what I needed to say. I said how I felt. And I said, I'd appreciate it if you would do it this way. I said the way I wanted her to do it. And I got my message across. And I didn't have to, now next time I might say it again, say, this time again, remember, do it this way. Just put it on the channel. You don't have to do any of that other stuff. You don't need to waste your time, because it's later at night when you're setting it up. Don't worry about it. Just do it this way. That's all you have to do. And she'll appreciate that, because then she'll say, well, he didn't like the way I did it, but now I know how he wants me to do it. And I didn't have to get frustrated this time and not say anything and say, it's pointless to say anything, and then also be frustrated next time. Because it's important to eliminate any miscommunications that happened and any errors in judgment, because then I don't continue frustration. And it's one less thing that's going to upset me. So I made that shift, and I've made that shift, and I've been doing it. And that's because of what I said to myself. I don't like the way somebody treats me when they treat me that way. So I don't want to treat somebody that way, because I don't deserve that. So why do they deserve that? Why does that person deserve that? So back to my original thing that I was talking about. This person, I'm going to probably end up telling my son, hey, look, don't talk to this person. You don't need that person in your life, especially the way they're acting towards you. If they want to act that way, that's fine, but you don't need to accept it. And I'm going to try to make him aware of making that shift. And if he chooses to, he'll make that shift. And I know it's hard for, kids his age, because they're not nice because of things they've learned from their families, their parents, their brothers and sisters, their aunts, uncles, grandparents. And it's not easy. But I think I've made an effect on him in the process, because he's made shifts in things, and he says, and I said, you know what, you don't want to hug your dad in front of him. I don't care, he says. I don't care if they say something about it. He's like, I'm going to hug my dad. And I don't care if, the kid at the bus stop says, oh, your dad showed up to the bus stop. And he said that to me, and he said, I don't care. He's like, I'd rather you be there than not be there. And then I also said to him, well, maybe he's kind of just not happy that his dad can't be there at that time. I'm sure he'd like it if his dad was able to, right? And he agreed. My son agreed. So, in conclusion, you're making a shift in your life, okay? These are things that I've done for myself, and it's not easy, and it's okay to make a mistake. But when you make the mistake, come up with the solution that's better for you instead of, oh, I'm going to do things this way. I'm going to get angry with someone. I'm going to stay angry, and I'm going to allow this to continue to anger me. Make the shifts. You can do it. Subscribe to my videos. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you're going through. I help people with this, with a lot of different things similar to this. Anxiety, depression, anger. I've lived through it all. I've had a lot of stuff where there was a period of time in my life where I felt like I didn't know what was going to happen next. I didn't know if I wanted to be here. And it was because of the way I felt about myself and the way I thought about myself because of situations and the way I took things. And when you shift those things, those thoughts, those actions, those feelings that you have of yourself, and you make yourself have a better life, you feel so much better. You don't have feelings of, oh, I don't want to be here. You don't have feelings of, oh, I'm always angry. And you don't always have anger coming up and people making you angry and situations that continue to frustrate you. You don't accept those anymore. You don't allow those people to have those negative reactions anymore. And then you don't attract those things anymore. When you don't attract them, it's kind of like, there's been situations where these situations have come up at work and angry, negative customers don't come to me. I'll get shifted over to this, something says, Brian, just move, go there. And it's like, I'm not aware of what the actual reason is yet. And I get there, and then the other manager goes over and deals with it, right? And I don't get stuck with that negative person yelling at me, saying things to me. And sometimes when I do, I say, hey, I understand what this person's going through. I've been a patron before. I've been in their situation, and I say, I'm sorry. And when they legitimately see that you're sorry, and some don't because they don't want to see anything else, because that's the kind of person they are. And that's what I say to myself. That person's going to be angry with whomever they're talking to. They're going to be angry with their spouse. They're going to be angry with their kids because that's the way they are. And that's the way they want to be because they're used to being that way. And it's their safe zone. And I say to myself, with compassion, not judging, I've been there. They can be there. That's okay. And when you let people be there, you let yourself be where you are. I'm not over there. I'm not there. I'm here. I'm retracted. I'm away from it. Those things don't come to me as often. Yeah, they still do. Occasionally, here and there. But it's a reminder for me that says, oh, those shifts that I've made, yeah, I don't get mad about that person anymore. I might get a little frustrated for a second because I'm like, I don't deserve this. But I think and I shift, and when you make that shift and you make those positive thoughts and you say with understanding and compassion, that person has that stuff going on. Maybe they have other stuff going on. And maybe that's just the way they are. And they can be that way. Because I've been that way. And people have allowed me to be me. Right? Just because people, it's not that, it's been said that, others don't really care about what's going on in your life. And maybe if they don't know you, yeah, why would they care? Same thing that you think. That person over there, yeah, you may think, oh, I don't want that person to have anything bad happen because you're a good person and you don't want them to die or to get injured badly. But you're going to think, I don't know that person. They don't have a connection with me. And I don't really have a connection in their situation. So I don't know what the real reason is. But it's okay. But when you do that, you feel better. You feel more positive. It's more of a positive thing, and I made those shifts. Now, the video is getting long. Now, this is something that I do for others. Coaching, guiding, repairing, but not me repairing it. It's helping them repair it, helping you repair things that are going on with you. And this is what I want to do, and this is what I've done because I've had it hard in my life, and so I thought, and everybody thinks that. Your situation you think is the most challenging, the worst, it's the worst thing that's ever happened to you. That's what everyone thinks in their situation. So if somebody else outside of you that you don't know doesn't understand that, that's okay. If your family doesn't understand that, they haven't gone through what you've gone through. They haven't been in your shoes. Until they're in your shoes, they won't understand fully. They can say, unless it's like me, where I've been in your shoes, and I understand why people get angry and why people are frustrated and why they just get set off by stuff at the snap of a finger, or, stuff happens quickly for them and they just react. They're used to that. Now, if you're interested, let me know in the comments. If you want to just have a conversation. I'm getting into doing more chats with people, and I'm getting into doing more one-on-one calls with people to see where they're at and see if us working together is something that's a possibility, and if it's something that's good for you and for me. Like the video, subscribe, comment. I'm looking for subscribers. Right now I'm just kind of making a bunch of videos and getting stuff out there and going with the flow, because I know if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen when the universe is going to guide me and help me and push me forward, propel me in the direction that I'm meant to go. If this is something that you felt good about or felt it helped you, let me know. And I hope you have a better day.